sebagai rakan kongsi. Program ini dijangka menyemarakkan sektor ekonomi tempatan di Malaysia seperti sektor pelancongan, pengangkutan, peruncitan, makanan dan minuman. Malaysia mengalu-alukan kedatangan nomad digital dan alamilah pengalaman work from Malaysia sambil menerokai pelbagai lokasi, budaya dan warisan yang mempesonakan. Malaysia kini beraspirasi menjadi destinasi utama hub digital pilihan nomad. Terokai pengalaman melancong sambil bekerja sebagai nomad digital di Malaysia. Layari laman web mdac.my/dirantau untuk maklumat lanjut.
Masanya telah tiba, lebarkan sayapmu, terbang kembali. Semuanya ada 7 destinasi, di kota atau desa, menyambut mesra bertemu kembali. Semuanya turut serta cuti-cuti Malaysia. Sama-sama kita melangkah, bergembira seisi keluarga. Malaysia penuh panorama indah, berbilang budaya, warna-warni di ibu kota. Hijau gunung, biru luas lautan, langkahkan memori bersama, terokai keindahan.
Malaysia's digital journey began more than 2 decades ago when MSC Malaysia was set up to transform the country into a knowledge-based economy. Since then, MSC Malaysia has contributed immensely towards the growth of the nation's digital economy. Our next step is to take the digital transformation from the corridor to the world. Introducing Malaysia Digital, a strategic initiative which will empower the rakyat, businesses and foreign investments. Malaysia Digital will also elevate the participation of Malaysians and local businesses in revolutionizing the world's digital economy. Malaysia Digital opens doors for Malaysians by providing equitable access to digital tools, knowledge and income opportunities. It offers new business opportunities and growth through a supportive digital ecosystem. It also provides flexible and agile investment facilitation to make the country investment friendly. The goal is to drive the digital ecosystem and develop the digital economy to a stage where it contributes at least 25.5% of our GDP and creates 500,000 jobs by 2025.
Malaysia Digital will galvanize public-private partnerships to accelerate the growth of our digital economy and drive positive transformation that ultimately benefit the rakyat, businesses, investors, and also the whole nation.
Establishing Malaysia into a digital nation, one with more adept, stronger and resilient economy, society, and governance. Stepping into tomorrow's digital future today.
policy and productivity. You often hear the country's economic policies aimed at increasing gross domestic product, increasing exports, increasing investment, and creating high employment opportunities. These policies are also associated with improving the standards of living of the people. Are such policies appropriate or otherwise? What is your opinion? Do you often hear economic policies targeted at increasing the productivity of an industry, a state, or a country? For example, the increase in GDP, which is the national output, is less appropriate if it involves a more significant input. This means that the rate of...
Hi. For those of you who just arrived, you came at the perfect timing. We are about to kick off our next session with the Chief Investment Officer of MAVCAP, right here. All right, choose a seat, guys, based on the mood of the day. Hi. I had to call out my only kawan here. All right, thank you so much for joining us here today. We've got quite an interesting lineup of speakers back to back. And for those of you who are interested in our next presenter, please grab your seats up front over here. In fact, allow me to introduce, we have Paramjit Singh, Gill, the Chief Investment Officer at MAVCAP, who will share with us more about Malaysia Venture Capital Roadmap. And on that note, Paramjit, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Very good morning, everyone. My name is Paramjit Singh. I think today the topic in question is about the Malaysian Venture Capital Roadmap that was recently launched earlier this month, and is to present to you what we are supposed to do for Malaysia up to the year of 2030. It's basically a roadmap that has been laid out through market engagement and various VC engagement, as well as engagement with startups as well, to some extent, to basically see what are the gaps and how we can bridge it over the next 6-7 years of the implementation of this roadmap. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a technical issue. Okay. Okay, so what's the vision? MCRs to make Malaysia as the preferred regional venture capital hub by 2030. How are we going to get there? Through doing three things. Unlocking the various pots of capital that we have in various institutions, creating a supportive regulatory framework for growth, and capacity building to accelerate the ecosystem development over the next 6 years. What are the targets of all these initiatives? We must have outcomes for all the things that we do. So the targets are to actually close to double the venture spend within the country from currently standing at 0.19% to 0.35%. It's close to a double by 2030. To improve the regulatory framework that supports funding at its most critical phase. Today, in Malaysia, what we have seen is that the past initiatives have been largely driven on the very early stage. So a lot of startups are not able to then progress thereafter. So we'll come back again. So that's why the focus for this round has to be slightly beyond seed and beyond. One more important thing that we need to do in Malaysia is actually provide further clarity, consistency, and cohesiveness of the regulatory framework across the funding life cycles. To do all these things, what do we need and what do we aspire to achieve? We need to actually increase the number of venture capital participation, the number of venture capital shops in Malaysia. So currently we have a total of 116 registered in Malaysia, but the fact of the matter is we do not have 116 active VCs in Malaysia, right? So over the next 6 years, by 2030, we hope that the number can be hitting close to 150 shops. But these 150 shops, what we aspire to be is a lot of them will be active. So this is basically a very broad overview of what the ecosystem looks like, from which entity gives grants, financial institution, accelerators, your private equity setup, angel investors, crowdfunding, P2P. What MVCR is focusing about here is purely on the VC side. And there are two key buckets here. The two key buckets is one, the national outfits, and the other is the private funding outfits. What MVCR intends to do is actually consolidate and refocus the national funding outfits. I think several announcements have been made. I think all of you all are aware of it. And accelerate the number of private funding outfits out there by collaborating and supported by the national funding outfits. So, stages of funding. So over the years, what MAVCAP has been doing, and a lot of the other agencies have been doing, actually a lot of our funds have actually gone in putting money into VC funds that typically focus on seed investments. So a lot of companies, just in MAVCAP alone, there's over 1,000 direct, indirect portfolio companies. But we do not have clarity on how we're going to take it from Series A, B, and beyond. That needs to happen as we seed the early stage. We're not saying here that MVCR doesn't look or completely ignores the seed stage or the pre-seed stage. There are other counterparties within the government that are looking at that. So for MVCR purposes, we will focus on funding Series A and beyond. This is an important position. Malaysia has actually slipped from the VC and PE ranking of attractiveness to do business from the 19th to 20th position. Albeit it's not a big slip, it's still a slip comparatively to our other Asian neighbors, such as Singapore and South Korea, who has actually seen their position improve. The reason for this is very simple. They have actually focused a lot on investing in innovation and corporate R&Ds over the years. And that has created a deep entrepreneurial spirit within the country. We are not lacking of it. We are not too far of it. We can achieve it. And how we're going to do it is that we need to work on some of our gaps. We have some favorable market conditions that are working for us. We have actually a pretty deep capital market position in Malaysia. Through Bursa as well, the bond markets are pretty healthy. Capitalizing on that, as well as providing, we have a pretty stable legal framework as well that we can build upon to actually improve our position from rank 20 to top 10 within the next 6 years. Over the past 3-4 years, we have actually seen our funding value CAGR gone up by about 44%. How did this happen? If you can see, a lot of it happened during COVID. There was a digitalization push across the businesses, and there were outlier investments made within Malaysian companies. Some of it are the likes of Touch 'n Go Digital and Kasem, some of it, right? But even excluding that, there has been positive CAGR with regards to the growth in terms of funding in Malaysia. What we need to do now is actually take that momentum that we have built and accelerate it further. How are we going to do it? MVCR has come up with 3 specific pillars. One is funding, the other is regulatory reform, and the third is capacity building. What are 3 key strategies of driving this? We have to improve the ease of doing business in Malaysia. We are already a pretty easy place to do business, but I think we have quite a fair bit of room to grow. Improving funding accessibilities. We have a lot of capital that are trapped within various agencies in Malaysia, including private corporates. Unlocking that will actually unleash the venture ecosystem further and elevating the Malaysian venture capital talent pool. We can't be expecting to invite venture funds to come to Malaysia when we do not have the right people. Building our people, building our human resource, our human talent is equally as critical as doing the necessary things on the funding and ease of doing business. We need to have enough talent for all these agencies, for all these venture funds to employ, and so also build over the years so that we can drive the ecosystem further. There are a total of 11 interventions within the MVCR. And these 11 interventions are meant to actually resolve some of the issues that we have identified over the next 6 years. So some of it are involving cross-border capital flows, a centralized platform for VCs that facilitate VC management, monitoring, and information provision, a conducive regulatory structure for VC harmonizing onshore and offshore legal structures. We frequently in Malaysia, you will hear that sometimes moving in and out can be a slight challenge. Even though it's easier than a lot of our regional peers, there's still a slight challenge. We want to improve that. alignment of onshore and offshore tax incentives. There are various tax incentives, but we need some tax incentives that would work for the ecosystem, right? And increasing VC exit options. Making an investment is easy, as any fund manager knows, but getting out within the time horizon is a challenge. And as most of y'all would know, DPI is the key measure of a success of a fund today. And that's the conversation that's being had. So government coming up with a sufficient plan and promotion to ensure this can happen would promote the ecosystem further. More strategic and efficient allocation of government funds. As you are all aware, there are various initiatives within the government. We need to consolidate and focus our initiatives a lot better, right? Through consolidation. I think that's one of the things that has been repeatedly announced, and a lot of implementation activities are already ongoing at the back. Enhance attractiveness of government matching fund of fund schemes. As you're aware, our Prime Minister yesterday announced a 1 billion ringgit initiative for the setup of the National Fund of Funds. This is part and parcel of that initiative. Increased participation in both GLICs, GLCs, and corporate venture investments. The government can't do this by itself. We have to unlock pool of capital outside within the government sphere. And this pool being unleashed will provide the necessary outcome to achieve the objectives set under the MVCR. Seeding of new fund managers, promoting VC-focused educational programs and industry immersion for new talents. Besides just deploying capital in established VC fund managers coming into Malaysia from overseas, as well as backing our existing fund managers here locally, we also need to continue to support new and emerging experienced professionals in setting up their own funds. And that will also spur the local know-how and local knowledge in terms of deploying capital more effectively here in Malaysia. Enhance visa schemes to facilitate talent attraction. We need to ease talent mobility in and out of the country and facilitate the development and establishment of VC support functions. While funds want to set up, the VC funds ecosystem, all your support services need to also be there to support the growth in the VC ecosystem in Malaysia. So guys, thank you very much. I think that's all I have with regards to MVCR. Feel free to come and see me or any of the MAVCAP team members. We have been entrusted with this kind gesture by Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation to facilitate the development, planning, and then the implementation of it will be done by another party to be appointed. But essentially, we thank you for all your kind support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paramjit. And of course, if you have any questions, you can approach Paramjit off stage as well to ask away as we swiftly move on to our next fireside chat. So for those of you who would like to join us for the next chat, just stay where you are. We're about to mic up our distinguished gentlemen that are about to take center stage. Coming up next, we have the topic on how emerging markets will reshape the future global economy. We're very pleased to have with us Jack Tung, founder and CEO of Airwallex. And this session will be moderated by none other than Bharath Satanathan, partner at McKinsey Company in Singapore. In the meantime, periodically we're going to be flashing out the QR code. For those of you who missed out on that just now, don't worry, because we're going to flash it up again later on, and that would lead you to our event page. You can download our app, you can see the full agenda, you can connect with like-minded peers as well. Here it is again. You can also watch the stream videos from yesterday and today's session. For those of you who missed out on yesterday's session, or if you'd like to rewatch, you can also download the videos available here. Those who just arrived, welcome. Please do grab your seats. Or if you'd like to burn some calories,